It's the Jay and Thomas Podcast, an hour of commentary on today's top stories, current events, or just life in general. And here are your hosts, Jay and Thomas Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Jay and Thomas Podcast. Hope you're all doing great out there. It's been a wild one, folks. Hopefully you all enjoyed the last episode there. Luckily, I have returned from the Vegas trip, which we'll get into a little bit later in the podcast hour. And it looks like our Ecuadorian OJ may have an update on his experience. So we're going to start out the way we normally do each time and ask the man of the hour how he's doing. And so, hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm doing really good. I have a update on the OJ chase, the Ecuadorian OJ chase. Yeah. Well, I found out that our driver, Gigi, is she lived in New York for an extended period of time. So she was okay driving in all that crazy traffic in Guayaquil. But I found out from a couple of other people that she has been stopped several times and paid off the transit police.
Yay.
And so now, now she's a target. So when they see the pasty white girl with pasty white people in her truck, in the pasty white truck,
right?
Yeah, I mean she runs a cabana on the beach. It's a restaurant bar type place. So she's a business lady in Playas down on the beach. And it's a really nice place. Yeah, it's a really nice place. And so she's in and out and always around town, and a lot of people know her because she's fluent in both languages.
Sure.
But that's why they stopped her. They didn't stop her because she was, driving too fast or anything like that. They stopped her because she had been stopped before. And I didn't realize that. And I was telling somebody down here that story, and they go, well, she's been stopped several times and she's paid these people. And once you pay them.
If you give a mouse a cookie,
he's going to want a glass of milk.
It's like at roll call, they're like, okay, who are we going to pick on today? Yeah. Because they told me, they said, get in your paperwork that you have on your scooter with your cedula and your visa and your passport, stick a $5 bill in there. And that way, if they start going through your paperwork and there's a $5 bill paper clip to your paperwork, they'll usually just slide the $5 out and hand your paperwork on and tell you, I'm not sliding no $5 bill in there, man, because it's an electric scooter.
You're not getting my $5.
Yeah. Because $5 is a big deal down here. So
it's not nothing. That's for dang sure.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when you were talking about why do you do things for other people?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that today, and it's like, you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So if you do for people, you would like for them to do for you, not as a payback, but you would like for people to do for you if you got in that situation. So
that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. The biggest thing, though, is do unto others as you want done to yourself. Like that, because that's kind of the golden rule to a degree. There's a more updated version that I can't for the life of me think about or remember it right now. But the biggest thing is the reciprocating part of that sort of thing, right? Where
right.
Do unto others as you want done unto you. The big thing there is still there's that circle, right? There's still the expectation somewhat. And there was a golden rule version where it basically has nothing to do with you. It's all just treat people well. That's it. Just treat them well.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Right. And I can't for the life of me think of it. If I remember it in post, I'll try to make sure to bring it up so everybody can see what I'm going on about, which is normally the the ramblings of a crazy person, which is
it could be do unto others before they do unto you. It could be.
Well, it could, but the problem is like that's very true. But then again, that's a little bit more like reminiscent of like shoot first, ask questions later. The line gets very thin there.
Yeah. Yes. I like that. And I had a question for you.
Yeah.
since they're trying to reimpose a mask mandate,
Yes.
who gets all the money for the mask? I mean, all of a sudden, mass production, custom mask, and all that kind of stuff have just gone off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. My masks for down here. It's an Ecuadorian the soccer team.
Oh, okay. Got it. I was going to say,
Yeah.
and we're going to have to wait for a second for...
No,
there
it's,
you go.
It's
Yeah,
about,
there it is.
It's about playing soccer down here.
Right.
So, you know, you've tried to bullshit us with the Delta variant, which is nothing. They're trying to stay in power and keep everybody scared through the 2022 election. That's all they're trying to do. They're talking about more lockdowns and more mask mandates and all that stuff. Where does it stop? It's all a bunch of crap, man. It really is.
Okay.
Okay, that's all.
To that end, to answer your question, who gets the money for the mask? Whomever is making the mask and whomever is making the mask or the mask mandate like a thing, if that makes sense. Hold on.
Is that a kickback, or is that a payoff?
Maybe,
or if I can keep you wearing these masks and keep selling them by the cases?
Sure. Okay. But one of the problems, especially this conversation right here, is I'm all about the extra lockdown stuff, right? Which, because understand, if I get to work from home,
which lets you go. I knew that was coming.
I'm good, man. You know, it's a scenario. I understand very much about how much of a shitty thing that is to say, but we got to understand there are several people who didn't get harmed completely, like all the way around from this scenario. And it's something where it's like, hey, you mean I can wake up again at like 8:30 to be at work at 9 because I just have to take a shower and roll into the office like 10 feet away? It'd be nuts. So to that end, people want to stay in power, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. I saw very recently, I don't watch as many political things anymore, but I did see where online people are they're trying to push to have the voting legislation thing pushed through and everything, which that's all well and good. It doesn't really mean like a hill of beans to me. And the reason why I say that is we get down to the scenario of hearkening back to the South Park episode, which is called Vote or Die. One of the greatest episodes in the world, where you're voting on stupid people anyways, right? You're voting between a douche and a turd sandwich. So that doesn't even matter. Then in the end, people are going to say, vote, 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 vote. Well, then when your guy loses, that's when your vote doesn't matter anymore. And so it's just going to be a cyclical thing over and over and over. It's going to be very difficult to have swing states or purple states or whatever where they go back and forth and back and forth. And it's almost as though, since you can't do a whole lot to change it, whatever.
Okay, well, check this scenario out. If they let in 2 million people through the border, and then in one of these bills that they pass through, they slip in a clause about amnesty, then you've just got 2 million extra voters.
Okay.
That could change an election. That could change an election. Nationwide election.
Yeah.
Or statewide election, depending on where they reroute all the immigrants to. So,
well, let's also
just a thought.
I agree. Well, let's also look at things a little bit from a different perspective. Okay, in terms of, you want to say that the immigrants, I'm under the impression that you assume that every single person who is from out of the country is going to vote democratically, and that's just a falsehood. Because if you look at folks who come from China, folks who come from Venezuela, Cuba, like places where they actually know what a dictatorship is and what oppression actually is and all this stuff, they're not going to vote fucking Democratic and then say, "Oh, socialist this." So it's like, no.
They won't even let the people from Cuba come into the United States because they know that they're not going to vote Democratic because they see the kind of tyrannical stuff that's going on in Cuba, and they don't want any part of it. They want freedom. They don't want to live under the rule of someone else, because that's what they're doing now. They're living under the rule and they're trying to get away. That's why that sack of potatoes up there that running Homeland Security is saying, do not come by way of the sea. Do not come to America. Do not come through Florida. Do not sail a boat. He's just telling them, don't come. To the Cubans. Now, you didn't tell that to the people coming across the Texas border, but you tell that to the Cubans.
I thought there was a politician recently who did say, don't come here. Like, don't go to America. I forget who it was. I thought there was somebody who was pretty high up who was like, yeah, your troubles aren't going to be solved if you flee your homeland. Like,
well, the director of Homeland Security said that. Don't come to America. Don't come to America. And he was basically talking to the Cuban refugees that are trying to escape.
That is a lot of context there that they're talking to the Cubans specifically based on how he talked, as opposed to just in general saying, hey, there is a proper way to do this and yada yada. And it's it's some days
on a lighter note. Yeah. Did you know that I-40 runs east and west, and it runs from one coast, from one side of America to the other side of America, continuously, except for 3 miles in Memphis,
where the zoo is. Right.
Where the zoo is.
Yeah.
They won't go over it. They won't go around it. They stop the freaking interstate. You got to get off and get on a U.S. highway.
Yeah.
And go the 3 miles and get back on the interstate. Did you know that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Not a fan of the zoo, I guess.
No, the zoo's great, man. The zoo's great. Speaking of highways, how was your trip to Vegas?
Life is a highway, and I'm going to ride it all night long. That's the actually.
What were you doing when you sent me the message that you turned your money around a little bit?
Oh, so we were actually, I did what's called, I laid somebody into a poker tournament. Okay.
Okay.
So you give them seed money, right? So you back them, and then you have an agreement with them. Okay.
Said person, right.
Right. After I get my seed money back, after my initial investment's paid off, then we split, and it's whatever the split is. And my buddy was tilted like all weekend long, just throwing money away. I mean, just left and right. Poker, craps, whatever. Just kept giving it away. All of his money. And I mean, he went there with like a wad of cash. And he didn't even do the one thing that I did that was a giant chunk of change that we won't talk about on the podcast. That,
it's just family. It's just family friendly. Is that why you're not telling anything about going to the Nevermind?
Yeah. I went to Nevermind, and it was out of this world. But at least I was happy after that encounter versus him who just was like, I'm gonna make it rain for no reason. And it was nuts. And he was just he was on life tilt for the entire duration, which to a degree,
my son has become a man.
You heard it here, folks. His son is a man.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
So no, you're totally fine. Well, what was nuts is my buddy's on life tilt. He gets down to the airport. And so, finishing up the story about poker, we end up, I ended up with more than what I put in, about $750. So
Okay. All right.
he was grinding, but that's
Ain't
because
no shame in your game.
well, that's because he was stuck there. Like, we went out there in reality to go pick up his car. Like, me fly out there with him, we chill for a while, go to California for a day, pick up his car, and come back. Turns out his car wasn't fixed.
I knew it wouldn't be.
Obviously not, right? So, to that end, we go out there. Like, our plane's delayed, so he's tilted. He forgets his really nice noise-canceling Bose headphones. Right from the start, he's tilted, and it's like, all right, start going on a life tilt, because that's just, you got money in your pocket, and you're ready to go. And we just never knew what day it was while I was out there, because we got there at like 1 a.m, didn't go to sleep until like 4 that morning. After, running around, we were driving around in a slingshot, if you all know what that is.
The Polaris Slingshot is one of the weirdest vehicles to ever hit the streets. It also has a really unique culture around it, where the motorcycle enthusiast and car enthusiast from every corner have either dismissed it or completely embraced it as a fun toy for the road.
And I'm not sure if you've ever seen what's called like the two fat people on a motorcycle, where the motorcycle is about to, just slip right up the crack of their ass, and then the motorcycle's gone forever. That is what we look like on this slingshot. Like, the horn
Brings a whole new meaning. Brings a whole new meaning to hauling ass, right?
Man, it's like the horn was a tuba that would go burp, 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 burp. And we it was insane, because I'm about 280 and this dude's probably like 350, 375. And I was like, I wasn't honestly sure how we didn't just get into it and it just explode. But that was the clown car for a couple days. And that's what this dude wanted to drive.
My friends know the low rider, right?
Yeah, yes. We definitely brought that song back around into circulation for sure. Now, we got out there, and it was just a surreal experience, because it never sleeps. The city just never, ever stops. Like, it's another kind of New York experience, right? Where there is something to do all the time. All the time. It never stops. Lights, camera, action, just 24/7. Go, go, go. And you can do whatever you want. Like, you can literally buy or do anything, literally anything, as long as you have the money. As long as you have the money.
Right.
We, it was just absolutely outrageous. And so, we wake up the next day at like 2 p.m. or something like that. And then we go to what's called, what is it? The Bacchanal. Right. I'm not sure if you know what that is. In Caesar's Palace, that is the buffet, where they have like lobster claws, crab legs, brisket. They got, Spanish food, Asian food. It's insane. Like, it is absolutely insane. And it's like $70 a person, because you're going to go there and fill up on crab legs and lobster and all this stuff. And you get, I think, like an hour and a half in there. Per
they got person. A time limit on it.
They do. They will be like, yeah, you need to go ahead and get the hell out of here, because we're losing money on this deal. And
it's a wonder they don't have a scale. When you walk in the door, it's in the floor. You walk onto the scale.
Yeah, man.
hour and a half, 15 pounds later, we need to get this guy out of here.
Exactly. No, my buddy actually gets over there, eats. Like, I think he's got 3 plates. He walks out, goes to the bathroom, comes back, and gets another plate of food. Like, he was literally making room. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So
you need to take him out to Texas and let him eat that 72-ounce steak they got out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it was just absolutely crazy. And so we're in this slingshot. The Bacchanal thing was actually the next day, but I keep wanting to not talk about the literally taking the slingshot through Death Valley. I don't know if you all know what a slingshot is. Of course, I'll show you a picture. I'll bring it up again, because it's literally like an adult go-kart. You're just outside. There is a seatbelt. but there's no roof. The windshield is like 6 inches tall. So it's just
two wheels in the front.
Yep.
Two wheels in the front, one drive wheel in the back.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a 2-seater.
Yep.
Right.
And you're just going nuts. And he's going like 70 miles an hour through Death Valley. And it's like, man, I didn't know if you want to die or like if he was having a stroke when he was thinking about this sort of thing, because he was trying to be a little bit of cost conscious in terms of, hey, to me, I thought the thing was cheap, right? It was cheap to rent because it was small. Turns out that's not true. We could have gotten a freaking Mustang convertible for almost half the price.
Wow. Well, they're unique, so I would think they would be expensive, especially you said it was an automatic. So it's a unique vehicle, and they're really cool, and you don't see very many of them. So that's why they jacked that price. Yeah,
they're unique, really cool, and dumb as hell. So if you want to ever drive one around,
oh gosh,
have that thought, and then just stop it. Like,
was it a motorcycle shop that you rented it from, or was it a car rental?
Neither.
Where do you rent?
Neither. It was actually, they specialized in slingshots, if that makes sense.
Okay, the specialty vehicle rental place. Okay,
right. That's one of the reasons why I think it was so expensive, is because it was kind of an exotic place.
Sure. Yeah, keep hydrating there, son. Right. You'll get to feeling better. Okay.
And it was absolutely insane. And so, like an hour and a half in, because we're literally driving through the desert, and the slingshot's getting hot. It's 110 degrees. There's not a cloud in the sky. And so eventually this guy turns purple, and I'm like, dude, we can't continue. Like, we have to stop this, or we're just going to be in a world of hurt. Like, we're going to actually like get seriously injured. And so we ended up sitting in a Dairy Queen until the sun went down all the way. And then finally we get out to the place he wanted to go, and then we drive back. And it's like, he takes the interstate back, and I'm like, dude, why didn't we take the interstate out there, man? Like,
he took you on the scenic tour, right?
Right.
Holy smokes, man.
And like, I seriously would have left the slingshot there if his car was fixed and he wanted me to drive it back. I'd have been like, dude, I'm taking the bus. Just tell him it's out here. Tell him to bring the truck. I'll pay for whatever the towing is, because that's just dumb. Absolutely dumb. So we get back. Well, then, of course, it's nighttime. Well, at night in Vegas, that's when you do things, right? Because it's not crazy hot. I think during the day in Vegas itself, it was probably like, it got up to 105, but that was the hottest. But then normally you're inside. Like, you're inside all the time. And they have like covered walkways or inside walkways between like the hotels, like the Luxor. We ended up
so you don't go outside and burst into flames.
Right. Like you definitely can stifle the need to do that. Right. Or like, because I mean, you can taxi everywhere if you want. You can Uber anywhere. You can limo anywhere. It just depends on what your budget is and everything. And but what's cool is, if you really wanted to, you could go to Vegas, stay in your hotel, and never leave. And you wouldn't be bored. Like, there are shows in the hotels. There's casinos. There's places to eat. Like, there's actually things to do. All sorts of stuff. So that, to me, is pretty cool. We stayed in the Excalibur, which was kind of like, as my buddy said, the Motel 6, but it's on the Strip. So I could say, oh, I stayed on the Strip. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Right.
But to that end, that was just a place for us to put our head down, right? And then get like, 6-7 hours of sleep, and then start the process all over again. And like I said, I never knew what day it was, because the day we would start so late in a day, go into the next day, and then you're like, okay, this is just kind of how we function for 4 days. And so that was Friday, was the desert adventure. The next day was the Bacchanal. That was the buffet. Then my buddy's like, hey, we want to go and play poker, because that's just what my friends wanted to do. You know, I gambled a little bit, and by that I mean like just sat there and was on the slot machines, just kind of chilling.
Right.
Didn't drink a whole lot while I was there, because I'm like, no. I need to be hydrated and not feel like just a piece of crap because I don't have any liquid, right? Or not, like I just would get severely dehydrated and then just kind of lose it.
Did they give you free drinks if you were gambling?
They did.
Some places do that. Some places still make you pay for them.
It's different, right? Because it honestly depends on where you were, what table you're at really does matter. Like
Sure.
if you're,
Sure
if you're betting $20 a hand at blackjack or at craps, per roll or something like that, they're all about it, because they'll keep they'll keep that money coming in very, very easily.
Right.
If you're playing slots or something, you might get a pass every 30 minutes or something. But it just depends on the location and like the timing, basically, and how much you're gambling. Because if you're gambling a lot, they will 100% be like, okay,
And
I'm going to keep this guy.
how well you
drunk.
take care of the lady that's bringing you the drinks.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
and they have all these like little unspoken rules and things of like how much you give to the lady bringing the drinks around and all this. And it's pretty cool. Like you can go out there depending on how large your bankroll is and just tip all the time. Or I watched a video yesterday that was just about cards. It's like, should you tip your dealers? Well, it honestly depends on how much you're willing to spend, because if you are like a normal like a normie or a regular or whatever you want to call it, and you're there all the time, then yeah, you want to tip them, because if you're counting cards, don't do that, air quotes, but they'll provide you with cover, if that makes sense. So it's
Right.
kind of like, can you game the system well enough, if that makes sense? So,
Right.
but yeah, that was day 2. So day 1, desert. Day 2, just kind of chilled, more gambling, etc. Day 3 was, and actually at the end of day 2, because it like everything just bled into everything else. Because I came back on Monday and it was like, is it Monday morning? I have no idea like what's even happening, because like I said, you just never stop. You never stop going. And so then into day 2, into day 3, we were actually in Resort World, which is the brand new casino out there. Beautiful, like a beautiful casino, mall, resort, all that stuff. It was very cool. That's where they had lined up like 10 Rolls Royces.
Wow.
It's like, oh, okay, so we're showing off, because each one of those has got to be at least $250 easy. And
Right.
and it's just like, holy smokes, man. So beautiful, entertaining, just kind of going with the flow, spending some money, chilling, running around, just kind of messing around. And so my buddy keeps losing more money. And that's one of the things that happens if you become inebriated or elevated while you go and gamble. To me, it just that's not profitable, right? Because I don't know what certain substances do to anybody else, but if I'm gonna, try to relax with some THC or something that's like that, I just go straight to sleep. So it doesn't do anything for me. But
Right.
there's it's legal out in Nevada, and my buddy was all about it. And I'm thinking, that can't make you play any better, or make you make better decisions. It's just letting you be fancy free, and you're just losing all your money, man. So,
It hurts less because you're not aware of what you lost.
I mean, that's fair. But the problem is once you come back to reality and you're like, where's all my money? It's like, oops. Now it hurts,
Yeah.
So then we go into day 3. And he's like, hey, let's go try to win some money. Because I told him, I was like, hey, I'll lay you into some games or to a game or whatever. And then the first game he plays, which is called PLO, which is like pot limit Omaha, which is a version of poker. The first thing he wins is like $500 over what we put in, and I'm like, okay, so this isn't a bad horse to bet on. And so for the rest of the day, I mean, that's like all he did for the rest of the time we were there, other than have me walk around. I'm not a very anxious person, but I did feel bad in the casino to sit down somewhere and not be spending money, if that makes sense.
Right.
I didn't want somebody to walk up and be like, hey, you're not spending any money. And I'm like, I've given you all my money. I need to sit down for a second. And so my feet day 3 were killing me. They were on fire. And like, I have decent Merrell shoes. Like, they're not bad, like walking / hiking kind of shoes, but
Right.
I was on day 3 and it was just a constant going all the time. And we were walking around, and of course my buddy would be sitting there playing poker for a couple hours or whatever, and I would be walking because I'm like, okay, I can't let him see me stop. So I'll have to be, a Sly Cooper about it or whatever. But it was cool. So then he was like, all right, I want some money. And I'm thinking, okay, I can get behind this because money's good. And if I could come out a little bit more even on the trip itself, then we will. Like, we'll come out even, and I'll pay back folks who I borrowed money from to go out there and just kind of go willy-nilly. And then it'd be awesome. One of the guys who were out there, his name was Q, and he was up at Resort World on day 2, going into day 3, by like $3,500 in poker. And it's like, damn. So
yeah, that's not shabby.
Yeah, and that's just him just grinding. And people out there, man, that you can make money if you want to. You can go out there and blow it all, or you can go out there and actually earn something, because that's, I think, what he does for a living. Which to that degree, it's great that he won. I think in the end he did even out his entire trip, like he got it paid for, and so he's good to go. So pretty intense. But then day 3 turned into like 11 o'clock at night. We just had In-N-Out Burger, which is wonderful. They're getting some, I think, in Tennessee. So, Gina's real uppity about that, because it's obviously a competitor to Wendy's, and their hamburgers are fantastic. Have you ever had an In-N-Out Burger?
Have not.
Pretty good.
I have not.
I think there's like 7 things on the menu. It's like burger, fries, double burger, cheeseburger, milkshakes, and then that's about it. And it was pretty good.
That's a smart way to do it. You don't have to make salads and have barbecue and all this other baked potatoes and all this crap that you don't need, that everybody's, I've said it 100 times. If, people had just stuck with,
sure,
like Crystal or Wendy's has stuck with, chili fries, drinks, and Frosties, where would you be, instead of all this other stuff? Go ahead.
Well, not me. That makes perfect sense. But In-N-Out Burger, they do their 7 or 8 things, and that's it. And there was a line out the door the entire time we were there, and it's pretty cheap. Like, I think it was $20, $25 for he and I to eat, and that was with 3 burgers, a milkshake, 2 drinks, and 2 fries. So it wasn't terribly costed, and really fast. Like, they're just cranking it out, man. It was almost like the efficiency level of like Chick-fil-A, if that makes sense. Pretty close to that. Like, they weren't on that level, but it was much closer than several other joints for sure.
Working towards that level, huh?
Right. Definitely have their ducks in a row for sure, or as close as you could possibly be. And then, like, we actually got rained on, which I thought was very surprising, because supposedly the desert rain is pretty rare, which makes sense. But the best part about it is it dries up in like an hour, so it doesn't even look like it rained. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. So, day 3 going into day 4, which is when I came back, like, it was 11 o'clock at night. I had to be up at like 7 or so to get on the plane.
Ouch.
And,
ouch. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't too big a deal. Like, since I was literally just like a blob, on day 3, near the very end of the day. I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to go to sleep and then wake up and taxi over to the airport. Hope I don't have to walk too terribly far. Excuse me. And I made it back, but I do not know what it is about these airlines where it's super cheap, but people are late all the time. Like, we were delayed going out there. That was Frontier. We were late coming back. That was Spirit. The Spirit stewards and stewardesses were on another plane, and you couldn't board. You can't board without people directing you where to go. So that's what happened on the way coming back. And then we land. Well, since we're late, our gate's blocked off. Like, we can't get to our gate.
Sure.
Right. It's like, people, please, just let me get back, to my hovel, my little hobbit home, and do it to it. It was a great experience all around. Would I go back? 100%, because like now I kind of know a little bit more, and it's something where it would never be boring. Like, you would get out there and there'd even be more things to do. The next time I would go would definitely do like Hoover Dam, Grand Canyon, like try to camp out one night where there's no light pollution so you can see the Milky Way and whatnot. And I mean, there would always just be something to do, and it'd be a blast no matter what. And you could go with different group of people and whatnot, and like stay in different places, and it would just be super cool. So would I suggest
Don't ever fly JetBlue, though. Don't ever fly JetBlue.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, keep that in mind, because never mind. Anyway, I'll never fly them again.
Well, when I'm flying down there, it'll be American Airlines, so I'm looking forward to that, because they are at the front of the terminal. They're not at the back, and
right.
And also when I head down there, it'll be like, oh, what's this nice?
Till you get to Miami, they're going to put you on a crop duster in Nashville, and you're going to leave out of Joe's Hair Care Tire Barn and Airport, and you're going to go to Miami, and you're going to get off at like gate D60 or 61, and to catch the wide body, lay in the bed, enjoy your flight, American Airlines down here, you're going to have to go to gate 2 or 3. So take the sky train.
Right. Well, in Miami, they have like the monorail, so you can
take that over
around there.
Yeah, because you're going to have to go about 60 gates every time. It happens every time. So it's a little skip. Yeah, it
is, but it'll definitely be worth getting on the large plane, and then they have the the first class seat, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm good. So no worries there.
There you go.
But yeah,
and speaking of your trip down here, we walked across the street. Walked across the street to the lady that runs Gabby runs the hotel, the El Jardin Inn across the street, and she wanted to show us the variety of rooms that she had available for your leisurely pleasure. So we looked at a room, then we looked at a suite, and then we looked at a house that's like by itself and stuff. So
sure,
yeah, and we'll go into it further, but we locked you in for 5 days. Which gave us the neighbor rate.
Oh, okay. Because you're literally neighbors,
Yes, and then we went back over and had lunch there. Oh, cool. Yeah, she gave you a room for 5 days for $1.25.
So $25 a night. That's not bad.
Yeah.
All right.
She says, "Does he want breakfast brought to him or not?" Hell no. He can get his big ass up and come.
Oh man.
She has 3 kinds of breakfasts at her restaurant.
Yeah. Ecuadorian, continental, and American. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went over there today, and Pat got American and I got Continental. Well, the only difference between the two of them was eggs.
Oh, okay.
And they come with juice and coffee.
Now,
and so
riddle me this, Batman. Was the juice and or coffee in like a 6-ounce cup?
Yes.
Nice.
The coffee was, but she said, did you want the coffee with water, I think, or with milk? And Pat said with milk. And so they brought her a coffee cup of warm milk, and you add the coffee to the milk. Oh, it was really crazy. And then they brought her some sugar if she wanted sugar.
Right.
But the juice was like fresh squeezed papaya juice.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get any coffee because I'd already had mine. And if I got another cup, I would have been, yeah. So, yeah. So she gave me a bigger glass of juice because I didn't have any coffee. So, but it's like fresh squeezed papaya juice or something. It's really, really good. 2 big croissants, and then a big slice about the size of a card, like a deck of cards, but it was about an inch thick of cheese.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Then 2 little rolled up pieces of ham.
Wonderful.
Was the continental breakfast.
Gotcha.
And the only difference between mine and hers was that she had scrambled eggs with hers.
Oh,
so
cool.
The Ecuadorian breakfast has plantains with it.
Okay.
And cheese. And I forget what else.
I was going to say, it'd be like Bob saying, they're going to plantain you to death out here, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Just plantains all the time, man.
But the rooms are really cool. And there's a miniature tennis court. It's almost like a racquetball court outside.
Oh, okay.
There's foosball and there's ping pong. I mean, she's got all kind of cool stuff that you can do outside, or you can just sit and drink beer.
Right. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Or you can get on the scooter and scoot into town and drink Mai Tais or margaritas or
there you go.
mojitos. Yeah, whatever you want. So,
I can dig it.
Yeah. We told her we'd come over and finish it out. So there you go.
Well,
we're locking you in.
We definitely need to, we got to hit up the mall so I can get my cute little empanadas, and then that's really the only thing that hey, I want to go down there and do that.
Yeah, that's what I told her. She said he can use the swimming pool. I said, ain't a pool boy. And so I said, and that's what I was telling Pat. I said, I'm going to tell him, I'm not planning your trip.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm not going to plan it for you, like we've had done when we've come down here. Oh, today we're doing this and tomorrow we're doing this. Tomorrow.
Right.
We're not doing anything.
Perfect.
Anything. Whatever you want to do. You don't want to do nothing?
Shit.
We do nothing. Yeah. You want to do nothing? We do nothing. I don't care either way. It doesn't matter to me. So, I'm not. If you want to do, if you want to go eat empanadas, we go eat empanadas.
Well, and it's different too. One, because you all live there, so there might be a day or two where you're like, hey, we discovered something, but it's going to be more of a hey, look, there's my parent. Let's go hang out. And it doesn't matter what we do, right? It'll be cool. I get to hang out with Dad because you're 2,700 miles away or 3,300 miles away or whatever. So to that end, it'll be it doesn't matter, in the slightest. So,
you think both of us can squeeze into this picture right here where we can sit side by side and be on the
I was going to say
be on the podcast at the same time.
Well, what needs to happen is we need to do it where we're like this. Right, and then you'll be behind me, facing the other way, and then we'll just hook the ambient mic thing. Yeah, right, exactly. It'll look like we're about to have a duel or something. We're going to go 10 paces and turn around and shoot each other.
There you go.
That'll be how that has to go down. So the big thing, honestly, is going to be recording down there, because I've got everything set up here where the recording's happening. I've got my my Go XLR, the mic, and all this. we'll have to get you the recording software and the player and all that, and so we can transfer the data and everything. So
Bo might have that. Might not have to invest any money.
No. There wouldn't be any money. Like everything that I do over here, other than the equipment, is free. Like the software it's all free. We would just have to get the recorded file back to me, so I could then edit it when I got back. If that makes sense,
Right.
But
Lori came over. Lori came over yesterday with a big bunch of bananas that she had grown on her banana tree.
That's awesome.
I said, "Yes, grasshopper."
What's a fresh banana taste like?
It was good. It was really good. They're shorter and they're fatter, but they are bigger around, you know. But it was good. Good. I ate one of them this morning, so for breakfast.
There you go.
Pretty good. And talking to Gabby over there, we were asking where we were in relationship to Pasorta, the fishing village down the road.
Yeah. She
said it's 1 kilometer shorter to go to Pasorta than it is to go to Playas. So we're at 10.5. So I guess it's 9.5 to get into Pasorta. But between here and Pasorta is Data, which is a little small town. Well, that's where she gets her bread. I was talking about how good her bread was, the croissant rolls.
Yeah.
She said, I got a guy that brings fresh bread to me every day.
Wow.
I said, really? She said, you want me to hook you up? She said, he comes every morning at 7:00.
That's cool.
She looked at Pat. Pat said, he's awake.
Right? Yeah, B.
So, yeah, he's awake.
Wow.
So I said, well, not yet. And she said, well, next week maybe we'll get in my car and I'll drive y'all around the area and show you, different places and stuff. But he bakes the bread in Data and brings it over each morning on a motorcycle.
Wow.
And I was like, no kid. She said, oh yeah, I can show you where his shop is, and you can go get fresh bread there, like once a week or something if you want to do that. Or,
that's cool.
Or he'll bring it to you. And I'm like, this is just too cool right here. She's one of these ladies that's been around and knows everybody. Yeah. She's got the hotel and the restaurant, knows everybody in the neighborhood and all that stuff. So
Gotcha.
Pretty cool. And she speaks really good English. So
that's helpful.
That was pretty different. Pretty different. Fresh bread every day. So
I forgot who I was talking to about it. I was talking to somebody about the trip and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, Dad didn't speak a lick of Spanish. And everybody I tell that to, of course, you're in South America, so either you're speaking Spanish or Portuguese or something akin to that, or maybe German if you're in Brazil. And it's like they just get so, I guess, tickled might be a word, or flabbergasted, or I don't know what they get, but everybody is just very shocked that you speak maybe 50 words maybe. And it's incredible that the technology we have now and also the people down there make it so it's even feasible for that to occur, because the language barrier would be such a jarring thing that it'd be like, this is awkward all the time, but since you can get around and boot and scoot and boogie and it's just totally fine, it.
Oh yeah. And I meant to tell you, got stopped on the scooters a couple of times. Well, I was by myself the other day. I don't know where I was riding into town, and they set up, where Bob's condo is.
Yeah.
Well, right across the street, that big hump right there, big speed breaker that's 10 feet wide and, in both lanes. Well, they always set the mobile policia unit up there. So I'm going along on my scooter, and it sounds like this. Okay. So the guy tells it's motorcycle day. It's motorcycle day. So they're pulling over all the motorcycles.
Okay.
So he tells me to pull over. And I pull over. And I'm thinking, it didn't hit me until he made me raise my seat. So he says, your paperwork. And he said it all in Spanish. And I said English. I don't know English. I got my paperwork out. He said passport in the paperwork, visa in the paperwork, everything. He goes, where's the original bill of sale? I said, the dealer kept that, and so he's going through it. And I think he thought I turned the bike off and coasted up to where he was. He was. I wasn't going to tell him it was electric. I was going to let him go through the motions and see what he did. And so he was going through the paperwork and looking at all of it. And so he pointed to my seat and he said, "Raise this." And he did like this to raise the seat.
Yeah.
So I hit the button and I raised the seat up. Well, then he started pulling. I had a visor and a hairbrush and I keep a plastic cup in there for when we go places so that I can drink out of.
Right.
And so he started pulling stuff out and he's looking. And I think he really thought that I turned the scooter off or the bike off and coasted up there. He's looking for a motor.
Right.
He's looking for a freaking motor.
You cut the engine and just coast.
Yeah. So he didn't hear me. And there's no tailpipe. And so his buddy walks over there and his buddy looks at me. And here comes the police with the dogs. I think I'm in trouble.
So you're never going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
Yeah. So it's just the guy that wrecked the buffet at the Harrah Club. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking about when you was talking about eating at that buffet.
Yeah, baby.
So his buddy comes over there and he's says something to his buddy, and I looked at his buddy and I said, "Electrica." And the guy looked at me and he just handed me the papers back. So I folded all my papers up, put them in the sleeve, fold them back up, put them in the. Well, I handed him my cedula, and he looked at it, and in the midst of all this, and so he handed all of it back to me. I folded it up and put it back in the sleeve, and I have it binder clipped where I don't even have to move. I don't even have to move. I can take that binder clip and hand it to them, and they can see, and so it's like, get on, So I turned it on, and they're standing right there, and this is what it sounded like when I drove off.
They heard the tires going,
going through the gravel. That's all they heard. And I drove off and I'm thinking, you guys, I come down this road 4, maybe 5 times a week.
Sure. And
you guys are out here you're out there every day. And some days it's motorcycle day and some days it's car day. Some days it's taxi day. We were in a taxi and they pulled the taxi driver over one day. Maybe it's us, it could be hey, there's those 2 gringos.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And the taxi driver, he's like, blah, 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 and they're like, go on.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because the taxi business is huge down here. And I don't see anybody.
Sure.
I don't see anybody getting jammed up for that. So
what was great at the in Vegas, the taxis, because it wasn't like that here. Okay, here's the juxtaposition. I take a taxi to the airport in Vegas and a couple other places. In the back of the seat, built in the headrest in the back of the chair on the passenger side is a card reader. And it's a screen, that's a touch screen, and you can see your trip info, driver info, rate info, blah, blah, blah. Put your card in, and then done. Well, out here in Tennessee, it ain't nothing like that. They got their card reader and they got to take your card and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're very nice people, but they, I was like, dang, they got this, like, figured out, like, real well,
Right.
And I was like, that's super cool. But then again, it's a scenario where you could get around Vegas and never drive yourself. And it wouldn't be too terrible. But my buddy kept getting us rides with his friends or acquaintances and be like, hey, what you doing? This is him on the phone. Hey, what you doing? You want to go and Caesars and eat? All right, come pick me up. And it just worked. And they just would do it just like that. Oh. That happened like 4 times. And I sit there and I'm just laughing at him because I'm like, dude, I would tell you big ass to take a cab. Like, I'll see you there because you're an asshole. Like, for real.
Uber or Lyft or I don't know if a forklift would.
Yeah, it's like Uber, Lyft. There's they're actually the one thing that we were gonna try to do, but it didn't really go to the right places was the monorail, because there's a monorail that goes all zips around the around the Vegas Strip, and it just like any other monorail, just got like a public transit. You just hop on. I think it's like probably $15 for an entire day for 24-hour access, and you just go back and forth, go up and down, go wherever you want to go. And but
it's 50 cents to ride the bus here.
It's 50 cents to ride the bus here. I live in Ecuador, and everything is cheap as hell. Well, I can tell you this: it is not cheap in Vegas, in the slightest, for anything. You know what I mean?
Stop for gas with the slingshot.
Yes, but like we always
How much
like
was it?
See, hold up.
Oh.
That's not a good question. And the reason why I say that is because guess how much gas was in California?
Oh, it's probably $5 a gallon.
It was $5 a gallon. And I was like, bro, help. No, please.
Luckily, the slingshot might have held 15 gallons or something like that.
It held, I think he got up to $50 just about, or 45 when we filled up. But that wasn't from empty though.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Like we never got low enough, thank God, to be close enough to really gauge that. Because for one, I know his silly ass wasn't paying attention to how much miles per gallon we were getting, and the machine itself is so basic, it's not going to give you that information. It just says how many miles till empty, and then that's it. So,
and that's a 4-cylinder. It's like a 4-cylinder Chevy Cavalier engine or something.
It's a Cobalt, I think, is what he said. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing. Cobalt.
Right.
Cavalier.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's got one of those, and
turning up the highway, it probably's got a top speed of about 85 or something, or 90.
We definitely did like 105 in that. And so we're sitting there like, and just going absolutely crazy. And I mean, like one instance of just going boop, and it just looking like a nuke going off. And because what had happened was, on the way back from the desert, we're on the main drag, like I-90 or something like that, or 95, whichever one goes up and down, or back into Vegas. And I'm sure you've seen this before, especially being a truck driver, where really smart people, will drag race. They'll get up beside each other, and then they'll slow down, and then their buddies will block everybody off behind them, and they'll just go, whoo, and they'll just start going. And they did this for like 30 minutes, right up until you got right outside of Vegas. And so my buddy is like, I shall not be bested in the slingshot. And so he didn't race, but he tried to keep up with them, right?
Right.
Just keep up, because he knew he wasn't going to win, because these are like, tricked out rice burners. We made it, but he definitely got into the triple digits. Like,
oh wow. Okay.
And I was like, what's that burning? Because I'm telling you, dude, he drove that car into the ground, 100%. And I told him, let's not break the machine, or break us. And then he has the audacity to tell me, well, that's what everybody does. They drive these into the ground. And I'm like, I don't think you're right, because the other ones didn't look like they had been through WW2 when they're all sitting out there lined up and stuff. So
right.
It was just it was some silliness, but I can now say I've been to Death Valley in what some would consider a very dangerous machine, and I made it. So
okay.
it was really not the day I was looking forward to after my initial experience that day. So I was like, okay, just live in that moment forever. That like just live there and not live in the 110-degree heat where there's no AC, there's no nothing. Like it'd be different if we were in the freaking cargo van that I could just like lay in the back in the dark with the AC on full blast. It was like, no. You're gonna be out there. You're gonna be in the elements. The little scorpions are giving us the bird as we drive by and stuff. They're like, you're next, and it's like, okay, cool. So yeah, that was Las Vegas. We were in the lobby of the Excalibur or the Caesar's Palace, and you'll never guess what song came on.
I have no idea.
It was Viva Las Vegas.
Oh gosh.
and I was like, oh, yep, this is our trip right here. And that's going to be the name of the episode. Is there anything else you want to talk about there, good sir?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I think we're caught up.
All right, dude. It was a pleasure talking to you and everybody out there. Thank you all so much for watching the Jaye and Thomas podcast. Thank you for putting up with our shenanigans. And luckily, I'm here. I'm here to stay. And we'll catch you on the next one.
See you.